All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone at Ruwell. Peace and blessings and much salutation to you, elect Akyam, across the four winds of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. I'm the brother Sha'ar from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming at you all with another lesson through the Spirit. I don't intend on making this lesson long at all, but more so just a video going into pretty much the amount of prudence that we have to have right now, especially with all this stuff going on. All right, we see that Esau, which is the so-called white man, our natural born enemy since birth, all right, is doing a lot more. He's showing a lot more of his antics to try to get us off the highways and the hedges, which, I mean, ultimately, seeing the rate that this is going, we see that this is the route, this is the route that's being taken for the famine of the word to take place. And we believe that the famine of the word is right around the corner. Okay. But as we're out on the highways and the hedges, we can't do the things that we did years ago. And, remember years ago, people would come up to the camp and remember the apostles been talking about this the past few weeks. When people walk up to the camp, you know what I'm saying? Don't just engage people for no reason. Now, of course, if people have questions, if they want to inquire about what we're about, of course, we answer their questions. We true to this. We ain't new to this. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to just pointing people out and just cursing people out with that finger right there, fighting on the camera and getting all what's the word I'm looking for? Reckless on the camera. We're in an age right now, we're in a time we can't do that because Esau is sending people out there to provoke us, to try to get us to do things to him. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, really, when you look at our example, our ultimate example, which is Yahweh Shai, he didn't portray himself to be like that. Okay, there was as you see in the picture in the background, these guys in Sakari, Alazar's camp, Sakari. All right, one of those guys had ended up getting arrested, because he had pushed that Edomite, and you find it interesting. Immediately after he had pushed him, there was a cop that came immediately, which goes to show you that guy was probably sent over there by those guys. All right, and we understand there's people like that that Esau sends out there to provoke us, and I believe that was an example of one that was sent out to provoke those guys out there in that camp. You know what I'm saying? But Yahushua told us these things were going to take place. All right. Yahushua told us these things are going to take place. And when those things do happen, you can't be shocked or surprised that those things take place. I mean, we are literally living in the midst of our enemies. It's written in Psalms 23. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I'm sorry. I think it's actually Psalms 34. One sec. Let me see here. Hold on one sec, yo. Thought it was in Psalms. Yeah, it is in Psalms 23. This is Psalms 23 and 5. It says, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies." All right. And I just want to see what this word table says. The word there is shalacham. All right. It says table, private use. All right. But ultimately, when we're out on the highways and we're out on the hedges, the highways and the byways, we understand that we're in the midst of our enemies. All right. So there's a certain level of prudence that we have to display while we're out there. All right. It can't be all out there reckless, trying to push people and fight people just because they get close to you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is what Esau loves to do. All right. Esau will love to put his finger in your face and say, "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you." That's the mind state of this guy. He's a child. He's immature. just to provoke you to try to hit them. All right. Because we understand that, the system is on their side. All right. They're within the agenda. America is not for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's not for you Jakes. All right. It's for you Edomites. So when things like this happen, ain't don't get mad or nothing like that. I mean, of course you get irritated, in this flesh, you're going to get irritated. But when I say getting mad, acting outwardly, displaying yourself in that manner, we have the scriptures to combat it. We have the scriptures to go into when those type of things happen. All right. Because that's our ultimate weapon of war. That's our sword. All right. And we see that this word bugs our enemies. OK. But I'm going to read this here in the book of Matthew. And it's in Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. All right. And this is as Yahushua was speaking to his 12 when they were getting ready to go and push the ministry. All right. Now we understand that as he spoke to the 12, he's also speaking to the whole church, because the information that Yahushua had displayed to the 12, had given to the 12. All right. Which was led by the apostle Peter. That's the same message that was distributed unto the churches, which you see the trickle effect happen unto this day, the church today. All right. These are ways that we got to carry ourselves. And again, as I had said earlier, we have Yahushua being our supreme ultimate example. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves." All right. And look at the nature of a sheep. All right. A sheep isn't one that's to fight and go when I say fight, literally fight. All right. You put a lion up against a sheep. A sheep isn't going to physically bear arms against that lion. All right. A sheep is defenseless. OK. But also remembering, too, that the sheep relied on the shepherd to help them and aid them. The sheep didn't rely on its own self. All right. And that's the spirit, really. When you read the book of Psalms, the 23rd chapter, that's called the shepherd's prayer. And when King David is doing this prayer, he's putting himself in the mind of a sheep, with the Lord being the shepherd. That's why the scriptures say, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And when you go into that word want, that word goes into lack. All right. So he says he will not lack. And when you look at the nature of a relationship between a shepherd and a sheep, it's very close, especially when you look at it in the ancient world. All right. I had done a lesson on this about a month ago going into this. All right. But when a shepherd would lead the sheep, all right, whether that sheep was getting led to go to the temple to be sacrificed, or it was led to get water, or it was led to go from one region to another. All right. There was a lot of perils that was in the way. It was a lot of perils. You had to worry about different robbers and thieves coming, taking the sheep. All right. Being a shepherd, and you had to defend it. That's why the shepherd, it had weaponry, staff. You know what I'm saying? You even research it. A lot of them had those pouches where they kept stones in them with a slingshot, and they would fling it to defend themselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you see why David had that slingshot. When you research it, there was a lot of shepherds that had that with those stones. And again, they had a staff, and that staff was to fend off different animals. Let's say if it was serpents on the ground, and you would swing at the serpent. If your sheep gone astray or they got out of line, you would hit them in their rear end to kind of get them back in shape. But the sheep really didn't have too much to fear, because they relied on that shepherd. And we understand, with Yahushua being our shepherd, we shouldn't really have anything to fear. But here he's liking us being sheep, meaning that we are defenseless within our own bodies. All right. Our Savior's going to defend us. Our shepherd's going to defend us. There's nothing that we're supposed to do outwardly. Now, again, we understand we're not choir boys, and there's levels to it, but the longer we're here, the more that we see this devil doing these antics, we have to be a lot more prudent within this. And for guys to just run up to the camp and just put fingers in your face and talk, you can't put your arms on them, can't strike them. This isn't your kingdom. That's what they meant to do. This is what we signed up for. We knew this is what it came to. And this is a message to the brothers, of course. Other camps going to do what they do. Just using this as an example, as you see Apostle Har and the apostles did responses going into this matter here, But we have to continue to be prudent and build up our level of prudence. This is Matthew 10:16. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." Now, I got to get this word harmless. I got to get it. No, I'm playing. All right, so let's see here. This word harmless.
The Strong's G185. Akeraios. Akeraios.
And it says unmixed, pure as in wines or metal. So it says pure. And that's part of being blameless as well. All right. Because if you're going around acting belligerent, you know what I'm saying, wanting to curse everybody out that comes up to you, wanting to push people off that come up and approach the camp, now you might not necessarily be doing something unlawful. All right. Because you stand in your own ground. But when it comes to people from the outside looking in, they can take you to jail for those things. In their eyes, you're looked at as being blemished, which, of course, they're going to lie on us. But if you fall back and portray yourself to be that sheep, you're more blameless than if you were to push somebody or to shove somebody or to strike somebody. Again, Yahushua said, we are as sheep in the midst of wolves. And lambs didn't go around just kicking lions and kicking wolves. Remember, we're likened to a sacrifice. And when we're likened to a sacrifice and us being put on this altar, we have to remember that when sheep was put on that altar, they were sacrificed willingly. They didn't put up a fight. You understand? Let's keep going. It says, out of mind, without a mixture of evil, free from guile, innocent, simple. All right. And again, that's the word for harmless. So without guile. OK. And what does the scripture say in Revelation, the 14th chapter? I got to get it. No, I'm playing. This is Revelation chapter 14, verse 3. And this is going into the elect, those that followed the Lamb whithersoever he went. Those that followed Yahushua, who was our shepherd, and us being those lambs, whithersoever he goeth. This is Revelation chapter 14, verse 4. It says, these are they which were not defiled with woman, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb, whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile. That's harmless. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. There's no guile. Harmless. For they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. All right. So with us being on this altar, there's no just putting up this fight. And again, we understand, things were different back then because Esau didn't have us in their radar as much as we are right now. Now we see that we're gaining more of the attention of Rome. Back there in 2008, which I wasn't there, but I'm just going based on the stories that I heard from different brothers, different elder brothers that have been in this thing, back in 2008. And even before that, there were certain ways that you handled yourself and did things because, you was coming up on levels and you was coming up on understanding. All right. And again, they weren't really on their head like that, But now we see, as I stated before, we have gained the attention of Rome on more of a higher level. So they're going to send different provocateurs and different people to come to the camp. All right. In higher levels, they've already been sending agents, but they're going to send more agents, and there's going to be people that are going to come to the camp, act interested to try to infiltrate. When I was in California a few weeks back, I think it wasn't last Saturday, but it was the Saturday before that. There was, you remember the situation with the whole anti-Semitism going on, the executive order that was just pushed about anti-Semitism, and now you got a bunch of lies being pushed out that pretty much there's these attacks on anti-Semitism going on which we know is just a narrative that Esau is pushing to try to link us to Islam and try to get us off the streets. At the end of the day, it's all being done by the Heavenly Father because the famine of the word is coming, but in the midst of all of this, all right, you remember there were signs that were put up in Los Angeles that said Yahushua is coming back, and they had linked that to anti-Semitism. But when we was out on the highways on Saturday, you got the main camp, you have the second camp, and you have the GMS Ancient of Days Espanol, the brothers that speak Spanish. But in the main camp, there was an Amalekite dressed in all black with a black yarmulke on. You could look at him and tell he was a witch, And I looked at the brother Yalad standing beside me, and I'm like, man, look at Amalek over here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say it loud, just something between that brother and myself. And that Amalekite looked at us with a very sour look with a little devilish smirk. You know what I'm saying? And he just walked on by. Really didn't think nothing of it. When you see Amalek, your first thought is to be like, man, this devil, But then he walked by again, coming from another direction. And I was like, man, what this dude keep walking by us for? So we went on and kept prophesying, of course, kept doing the work. And then after camp, after brothers gave their salute, had a conversation with a few of the brothers from the Northern Kingdom that's in the Spanish-speaking camp, and the priest Dawada, he had mentioned, he was like, man, did the Amalekites come messing with y'all at camp? There was a few more that came to their camp, asked some different questions, trying to pretty much, provoking brothers. And it made me realize when that guy walked past our camp, the camp that I was attending, I should say, it made sense why he walked by multiple times, So just using that as an example, these people are going to come up provoking us more. Again, as you see in this screenshot in the background, I was an Edomite that came and provoked those guys from Sakari. You can't be unprudent and unwise and just want to attack and shove and push all the time. We're not in the time of that no more. I will say this, back a few years ago, it was done and there wasn't really too much repercussion that was involved in it. Not saying it was the most prudent, but it was done. But now they're trying to find any and every way to get us off on the highways, And it just goes back to what Yahushua said. As we're out here, we're likened as sheep in the midst of wolves. Everybody else is a wolf. Your own family members, they're likened unto wolves. The scriptures say that they're going to sell you out. Not saying every family member is going to sell you out, but it's going to come a point where your own family members are going to sell you out. Everybody is a wolf. That's not part of this. That's not part of this thing of ours. We're in the midst of wolves. A wolf to a sheep is his enemy because a wolf will devour a sheep. Will attend to, will try to. And again, as I stated earlier, it was that shepherd's job to protect those sheep and understanding that the Lord is our shepherd. You know what I'm saying? The Lord gonna get us taken care of. That's why we shouldn't doubt or worry or whatever the case is, because the Lord got us because he is our shepherd, But as I stated before, everything that is at variance with this truth is likened unto a wolf that's trying to devour you. That's why the scriptures say in the book of Peter, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, now it's likened to a lion. But again, these are just animals that are used, all right, that is fierce and can devour you if you're unprotected. It says, as a roaring lion walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. All right. And that is intensified right now. That's intensified even more than a year ago, even more than 2 years ago. It's intensified a lot more. So we have to really be prudent on how we conduct ourselves in our daily lives, on the highways and the byways, and toward the brotherhood. All right. Because remember, you still are an example to people that are watching. And you don't want to be that example to conduct yourself in a certain manner. And somebody looks at you and they conduct themselves in that manner because they see you doing it. The example, that guy that pushed that dude off, man, the guys that watch them will think that's okay. Oh, yeah, we can just push them. You know, it's not okay no more to do that. All right. Again, this devil is going to go any type of way he can to take you away. You know, so we have to utilize, of course, we always do. But as it's written of, matter of fact, let me get this here in Isaiah 33. This is Isaiah 33 and 6. It says, in wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, in strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So this wisdom and knowledge that we apply, that we read, that we soak in within these scriptures is supposed to be applied even more so in this day, because this is the strength of our salvation. Utilizing these words that are in here, these different letters that the prophets and the apostles wrote, these writings and these sayings of our Lord, because we understand Yahushua comes in the whole volume of the book. All right. So ultimately, it's given from on high for us to be able to walk and conduct ourselves, these instructions, so we can receive these new bodies in the kingdom and in rulership. But there's a certain way that we have to conduct ourselves and be wise. You know, you remember back in the ancient world, around the time when the disciples was on the scene, when these letters was written, they weren't just written, just published openly. You know, there was a lot of diligence that had to be done for us to be able to receive this word today. You remember what they were doing that was considered treason. What we're doing today, according to America, would be considered as treason, you know, but back then they really had to be prudent on how they delivered their letters, who they delivered their letters to, you know, the manner that it was delivered. They had to be prudent with it. You know, they had to be slick. They had to be sly. They had to be wise as a serpent, as the scriptures say, you know. So we just getting back into those times, brothers. We getting back into those times where we got to really move with swiftness and really walk with wisdom on how we conduct ourselves. Utilize this word. This word is the weapon. This word is what cuts. This word is what has them doing this. It ain't your own flesh. It ain't your own arms. Your flesh and your arms are not going to defend you in this day. No gun that you have that you bring to camp is not going to defend you. It's only going to make it worse. Going to make it a lot worse. You know, that's why Yahushua said, if you live by that sword, you shall surely die by it. You know, but yeah, just wanted to go into that. Just all in a nutshell. You know, just be prudent. Just be prudent. Be smart. You know, be smart. Walk as children of the light, not children of darkness. We have the light. We can see what's going on. We see what they're doing from a mile away. You know, look at Yahushua as the ultimate example. You know, because he is the Lamb. All right. Going to end it off on that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing and much salutation to you, elect Dakyam, across the four winds of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom.